Hi, my name is Leah Grant. I'm here with Pure Movement Pilates, and we're going to do a little bit of a hip release before we move into some active arm work. So you're going to grab your TheraBand. All right. Woo. So following, we're going to focus a little bit on some strength and release for the hips. So let's keep the TheraBand nearby, but let's move into a little bit of a rocking stretch. So I'd like you to go ahead and bring your right foot over your left thigh and just stay right there for me. I want you to start to find that posterior tilt, a little bit of a pelvic scoop. As you pull the pubic bone towards your nose, I want you to start to push the left thigh into the right foot to lengthen your low back and curl, stretching your right hip, and then place it back down. So a little bit of control here, so that as you lower, you don't actually let go of the abs and arch the low back. I want you to think you're tapping the foot down, lifting it up, scooping. Sinking the ribs. Little bit of breath work here too. I want you to sense almost like your quads are heavy on your abdominals, which is pressing that air out. Last one here. You're going to pull and you're going to hold. Open your arms to a T if that feels good. Opening up through your chest and your shoulders. We're going to add a little bit of a rock. This is where we might be a little bit tight in that hip. As we shift the weight of the body over towards the left, I want you to turn towards the right. Now we're going to tap our foot, right foot to the floor, and then pull with our waist. Draw it back up. And then let's inhale as we spiral, opening up through the ribs in your waist, and exhale as we lift. You can think diagonal sling again. Think left shoulder to right hip. Front and back of your body is now working. And last one. Can you stay over there for me? This is where we might feel a little bit tight. Something that helps me sometimes is to use my left hand to grab my right ankle, as though my hand is going to help my foot stay put. So I have to, then I can try to let go of my hip a little bit, like I'm not holding on to anything. It's relaxed, helping to open up. Trying to even let go of those hip flexors a little bit. Last inhale here. Trying to sort of soften the back of my right hip down onto the mat. It's not going to touch, but I'm trying to let go of that tension through my waist and my spine. Gently, with your hands, you can still hold on to that ankle. You're going to curl the wheel of your pelvis a little bit towards your chest, and then set that left foot back down. Switching, right foot's going to come down, left foot's going to come up. We start just with the toe taps, like a figure 4. So think of your inhale here. And on your exhale, you're going to start to lift the right foot off, curl the wheel of your pelvis, push the thighs into your chest. Tap the foot, don't let go of your low ribs and back. Sink. Is this side easier or harder to do? Pulling those ribs down. Do you have any tension in your ribs and low back? Inhaling open. Exhaling to lift. Inhaling last 2. Stretching open the left hip gently. You're pushing the right thigh into the chest to open it up. Stay here. We're going to start to turn, looking to the left. As our left toes touch the right side of the mat, the floor, pull everything back up through center. This time I want you to take an exhale as you twist. And I want you to take an inhale as you lift it back up. Exhale as you twist. Inhale. As you lift it back up, let's do twice more. Exhale as you twist. Inhale as you lift it back up. And last one. Exhale as you twist. Stay here. If this feels good, your right hand is going to hold onto your left foot. And you're going to try to let go of holding onto anything so that your body feels soft. Breathing naturally. Woo. Are those left hip flexors still feeling crunchy? Try to let them go. Release that hip. Oh, it's the hardest part. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Gently, with the right hand still on the ankle. It's there to help. You're going to scoop as you inhale, pulling it all the way back up. Both feet are going to come back down onto the mat. A little bit of a hip release. Grabbing onto that TheraBand now. Let's move into a little bit of work. Right foot is going to put into the tissue, or the, not tissue, but the openness of the TheraBand, right? So make sure it's not like doubled up on itself. Spread the TheraBand all the way open so that you get some good feedback through the foot. Keep that left foot firmly planted. Grab wherever feels best for you on the TheraBand. So it doesn't have to be real taut. Little bit of movement here. What I'd like you to start to do is feel for the weight of the head, spread of the ribcage, weight of the pelvis. Right, so lots of times we can get stuck on one side of our body. So we're going to play a little bit with the right and the left. Kind of, if you could picture, changing lanes while you're driving, right? If you always drive on the right side, we have to pass. That means you have to get into the left and go back to the right. So what I'd like you to start to do is use your right leg to push into the TheraBand to lift your right hip up and shift the body weight over to the left hip. And then set that right hip back down. Push up and back down. Little cue here. It's not that you're falling over to the left. It's actually that your leg is trying to go up towards the ceiling. Do you feel? So if I push up and I hold there just a beat, I have to actively push into my left foot. I feel my left adductor and I feel my left obliques. Fiercely, like that's where I feel a large part of the work is into my left waist. And then I place it back down. Let's just keep doing that a little bit. Push up. Back and forth. So we're almost, it's like we're twisting our waist. Kind of like we were doing with our mermaid. But now our shoulder girdle is holding still and our pelvis, it's like a salsa, right? One hip is just going forward a little bit. 2. Almost there. Last one. And settle the pelvis. Let's check the other side. Let's see what it feels like. Before we go any further, I want you to evaluate the right and the left. So that right foot is going to be spread. The left foot is going to be up towards the ceiling. Again, finding an area of the TheraBand to hold. Not too tight, right? But the elbows can still drop to the mat beside you. Right away, feel for the weight of the head, spread of the ribcage, weight of the pelvis. Right foot is firmly planted. Left heel is flexing. Let's see what this side feels like. I want you on an inhale to start to push the left foot up towards the ceiling. And exhale, pull it back. Right and left. So I want you to think you're getting into the right lane, and then you're going to drop back into the left. Get into the right lane, and pull back to the left. Into the right lane. Feels lopsided. Right and left, it can be different, right? That's okay. I just want you to be aware of it. Let's do twice more. And last one. Soften. Bring both feet into the TheraBand. Both feet are going to stretch up towards the ceiling. Again, find an area to hold on to with that TheraBand so you don't feel like it's too taut, but you're getting a little bit of that hamstring stretch, and hold. And just for a moment, try to wrap the shoulders back and down, flexing through the feet. Find your stretch. Stretch through the ankles, the calves, and find the spread of your sacrum. How does that feel down onto the floor underneath you, right? We're going to start to pedal our feet again. So I want you to start to push and pull the legs up and down. Little movement. Push and pull. My elbows are wrapping. My shoulders are wrapping. I'm pushing down into my elbows just a little bit as I'm trying to push my legs, alternating right and left, up into the TheraBand. Now you might see that my knees are just a little bit bent. my hamstrings are tight today. This is what it looks like, right? So your legs don't have to be straight. Where you're trying to move from is the spread of your back and your hips, right? We're trying to loosen the hips, right and left. And I'm actually starting to sense that I'm getting a little bit more range of motion, which is actually what I want. So we're strengthening, stretching, and looking at our balance of the right and the left side. And last one, little breather. Soften, take a stretch. Let that go. What I'd like you to do is start to use the TheraBand. We are going to work on our roll up just a little bit. So teaser if you'd like, in the sense that the knees can stay bent if that helps you come up. You're going to start to push into the TheraBand, start to stretch those legs straight as you lift head, neck, chest, curling yourself up. You're going to come up nice and tall. Take a moment and forward fold if that feels good. Right? So just to stretch those hamstrings a little further, keep the sacrum back as though it's heavy on the mat again, right? The spread of your sacrum. Start to stack yourself up nice and tall, lifting through the top of your head. Start to turn the wheel of your pelvis. Start to slide yourself back. Your legs can stay straight or bend if that helps you into, right, the roll up. Legs maybe kick up. Take that moment and stretch, bend, curl. Think of the spread of your sacrum, lifting up and over and forward fold. Stacking it up, articulating through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Let's do that twice more. Tuck and roll. Find that posterior tilt. Kick up if that feels good. There's your hamstrings. Bend, curl. Lengthen and keep lifting the abdominals. Think of that stretch in your low back, all the way back up, tuck and roll. Lengthening. And last one, we're all going to come up to seated. However you like to get there, stretch forward, lengthening, and lose the TheraBand. Setting the TheraBand out of the way. Next, we're going to finish with a little bit of arm work. So I'm going to grab my wrist weights. You do not have to use wrist weights if you don't want that added challenge today. So let's go ahead and come to lying prone on the mat. Thinking a little bit of our swan again, or that extension that we found in our mermaid. So I'm not going to be super fierce with it. I'm not going to think about how high I'm getting. I'm going to think about the alignment through my spine and the balance through the right and the left side of my body. So let's start with the hands beside the shoulders down onto the mat, and the legs are lengthening. Before we even move, I want you to try to evaluate the right and the left side of your body. So thinking about the front of your hips, the spread of your shoulders, and the weight of your quads. Second toe. First and second toe are reaching. Top of your head is reaching. Hands can stay heavy beside you. Lifting the layers of the abdominals. Start to lengthen the low back as you lift through the head, neck, chest. Find just a baby extension. That's it. That's all you have to do. And then lay it back down. Lifting through the head, neck, chest. Slide the sit bones towards the heels behind you. And then lay it back down. Lifting through the head, neck, chest. Keep the low back long. Keep the shoulders quiet. Don't worry about how high you're going. Think about how much you're keeping that low back long. The glutes and the hips soft because you're lifting the abdominals. And starting to articulate through that spine. Let's do once more. Lifting through the head, neck, chest. I'd like you to stay here. We're going to butterfly our arms, and the weight is going to make it a little harder, but we're going to work from the center of our back. So the arms are going to open out, and then we're going to tap the hands down. Arms are going to open out, and tap the hands down. Lifting the layers of abdominals. I want you to try to keep your collarbones wide, and you're pulling from the center of your back, right? Not the upper traps. I'm looking sort of like just towards the top of my mat. Lifting the layers of abdominals. Almost there, we've got 4. It's not a big movement, it's kind of like a butterfly flapping its wings. 3. Last 2. Almost there, last 1. We're going to stay up. Arms are going to stay lifted. The whole body's going to tap down and then lift up. And tap down and then lift up. And tap down And then lift up. Woo. Tap down, lengthening through the arms, through the legs, reaching through the spine. Last 3, lifting it up, almost there. Last 2, lifting it up. Woo! You're not crunching through your vertebra. You're lengthening through your spine, keeping those shoulders back and soften everything down. I felt that along the length of my spine. Hands come along beside you. Lift the layers of abdominals, shifting that weight back. Let's take a little child's pose to stretch, open that low back again. I want to be careful that we don't compress that after we've spent all class releasing and lengthening from the hips and the sacrum. Dragging those hands along beside you, start to shift your weight back. Sitting on your heels if that's available to you, slowly stacking your spine up. Oh. All right, let's grab onto the foam roller. We're going to finish with some seated work. So in this seated position, what I'd like you to focus on is how you're pushing up into gravity, right? You're growing tall through the top of your head and your spine, despite the fact that gravity is pushing you down. Real quick, I just realized I'm sitting in what I am comfortable with is a crisscross. I want to try to challenge my alignment today a little bit and find actually the crisscross that's not as comfortable for me. I just realized I always gravitate towards one leg being in front, so I'm going to switch that up just a little bit. So our work today, whether or not you have the arm weights, again, is to find that balance, the right and the left. So as I'm stacked here on my sit bones, I'm going to try to think of supine work on the mat, right? Weight of the head, spread of the rib cage, weight of the pelvis. And I'm going to try to keep that weight back a little bit. Bending at the elbows, I'm going to pull the elbows towards my waist, widening my collarbones, and then I'm going to start to push them out. Bend and press. So not an overly difficult arm series right now, but think of it as alignment. Where is the weight in your pelvis? Are you only on one sit bone? Or can you think that you're going to grow tall to the top of your head, balancing the spread of your shoulders through the weight of your pelvis? Stay out there for me. Strong, straight arms are going to reach forward, keeping the collarbones wide. Careful your body doesn't shift forward, right? So the weight is back, the top of the head is lengthening, and open out. And as you open those arms out, I want you to think that you're drawing the spread of your scapula close to the spine behind you. Keeping those collarbones wide, push up through the top of your head and melt through the collarbones. Sliding the scapula back and down. Last 2, careful the ribs don't pop open. Last 1, stay out there for me. Palms are going to face up as we spiral the arm up. You're dropping the shoulders down, and then you open it back out to that T. Sliding the shoulders. Now, I am clenching through my right glute and hip. I don't know why. So I'm going to let it go. Right? I'm going to let it go. Oh, and try to think that my left sit bone is just as heavy as my right sit bone. Last 3, as I come up, I'm careful that I don't pop my ribs up. Last 2, but slide them towards the anchoring sensation I feel in my pelvis. Last 1, keeping those collarbones down, open it all the way out. Let's bend at the elbows. We're going to find that same exercise we did prone, but now upright. So pull the blades of your scapula towards your spine, and then back to center. Widen, it's not very big, and center. Almost there, widen, and center, and widen, keeping the collarbones wide, shoulders sliding back and down, even just keeping those elbows, my elbows are starting to droop a little bit. 2, keeping those elbows elevated. Last 1, keep the collarbones wide, back through center, all the way back down. Whew, soften and release. Go ahead and remove those wrist weights. Just a really quick little workout for your arms. Set the weights out of the way. We'll finish with a little stretch for our shoulders. So go ahead and open those arms, sliding that left arm over the front of your body. Try to drop the shoulder. So careful the shoulder doesn't come up. Think drop the shoulder, widen the collarbone, and pull to open the back of your shoulder. Oh, feels so good. Gently, we'll switch. Swinging it, opening it. Good. Where are you rotating? Is it just your shoulder, or is one side of your body in front of the other? Gently opening. Bring the hands behind the foam roller to help open your chest. Lift through the light of your heart, right? Now let's go ahead and listen with our right ear. We're going to circle the head and the neck. Keep the hands behind you, over towards the left. Down around, over towards the right. Down around, over towards the left. Let's do once more. I'm going to go ahead, finish that side to the left. I'm going to drop the weight of my head down through center. I'm going to send a breath to the back of my ribs. And then on that exhale, I'm going to lift the navel. Start to stack the spine back up through center, sliding my head and my neck back. Gently let go. Easy breath. Everybody take a nice gentle inhale. Translating those ribs back, shifting your weight back onto those sit bones. And exhale completely. Thank you so much. That's class.